Warning from the Better Business Bureau about scams involving the SAT and ACT tests. With a lot of students getting ready to graduate from high school and go off to college, the Bureau says students and parents need to be aware of fake test preparation scams.
Yeah, got to be careful. They say the scammers will call your home claiming to be from the College Board, a company responsible for tests like the SAT. The scammers will even use the students' names and details about the school that they're planning to attend before encouraging them to pay a lot of money for items to allegedly help with the test.
Joining us live this evening, we have Melanie Ducanel, President and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Detroit and Eastern Michigan. Thank you so much for being with us
Thanks
this evening.
for having us.
We appreciate it.
So the thing about these scams, it seems like they're always taking an exciting moment and turning it into something that is just terrible, because most people wouldn't even think to look out for a scam at a time like this.
Correct. And you ask, how in the world do they even start to find this information? I'll use an example. A very dear friend, they announced that their son was going off to Princeton. And, so they have the social media name, they have the school, they know about what time and where they live. So that's a great way for scammers to kind of troll for that information. So they also are looking at the College Board's website to see when those tests are happening nearby. So they're taking shots in the dark on when they may be taking those tests.
Yeah, I saw one victim's story. She said it was so convincing because they had the location and the time that my son had scheduled to take his, I believe it was SAT test.
Right.
And so, she did some proper vetting, thank goodness. But what are some of the things that people should do to properly vet, to try to verify the call?
Sure. Get their credentials. Start there. That's the easiest place to start. But the thing is that scammers are also really good at giving you credentials. So take it to the next step. How did you get a hold of us? How did you find us? Again, trying to glean as much information ahead of time. And then, if it does sound so good, but you're really still kind of questioning, take a moment and say, you know what, can you give me your phone number? I'll call you back. Give yourself a little breathing space. And then last but not least, if you really are committed to paying the money for these things, use a credit card, because that way you get the opportunity to get a refund on information that you did not receive.
That's easy advice there.
Yeah, very easy. We've mentioned social media before. Sometimes we're just feeding too much information to scammers. Is that something also that people should be keeping in mind?
Absolutely. So the sad thing is that you could take it a completely different direction with predators. They're looking at kids' Instagram accounts that are taking pictures in front of their school with the school name in behind. They'll figure out what time they get out. They'll figure out who their friends are. So social media is fun. It's also engaging with those people that you know, but you have to be aware that there are other people looking at this that are not necessarily there for your best interest.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we're reaching people tonight who this hasn't happened to, and now they're prepared, they're armed with this information. But unfortunately, it's a prevalent scam, so some people have already been scammed. If there's someone out there, they know this has happened to them, they've fallen victim, they've sent out the money, what can they do? What's your best advice?
Best advice is start with filing a police report, and that may not get you your money back, but it starts to establish a line of events that are showing that this is happening in your neighborhood. And then go to BBB Scam Tracker. Post what has happened to you. Give us as much information as you can, because BBB tracks it. We also try to establish kind of a pattern, but we also share it with our local law enforcement, as well as the FBI. So they're looking at the bigger scam and where else is it being perpetrated.
It's getting to the point now where people are scared to open any email or click any link. Are there any things that people can specifically look out for that could expose that this is a scammer?
Look at the URL first and foremost. If it doesn't appear to be that company, that's your first warning. I'll give you another example. DocuSign has been scammed so many times. It's all of a sudden you've got some documents you've got to look at. Click here. The minute they start to ask for click here is also another big red flag.
Yeah, and sometimes if you hover over it, it'll show you exactly what
that
it is.
URL will actually take you to.
Right.
Okay, this is my own curiosity, Melanie. Being in the position that you are with the BBB, day in, day out, you're faced with these scams and just, let's call it what it is, terrible people.
Yes.
How's your faith in humanity? I mean, this is your 9 to 5 every day, is people just taking advantage of, like you said, these exciting moments.
Well, and the thing is that what I love about my job is trying to protect those that have been scammed. Yes, those people that are out there perpetrating really bad things, if they would turn their lives to create good, I honestly believe we would not have the common cold, or there'd be a cure for cancer.
Yeah. And when people do sign up for tests like the SAT, is it normal to maybe get some resources coming your way that are legitimate?
Yes, absolutely. So when they start to ask for personal information or credit card information, when you've unsolicited that kind of depth in your relationship with the vendor, that's another red flag. So if your son or daughter is signed up at the high school and the high school is confirmed that this testing is going on, you probably have some good faith to move forward. But when they start asking for dates of birth, personal information, and then they ask for credit card information, take a step back and say, you know what, we'll go to your website, we will execute the payment.
Yeah, absolutely. With the families, the people you've just had impacted over your career, pretty good success rate of being refunded when you do use a credit card, though that I feel like
Yes.
is such an important tidbit.
Yes.
If ever in question, that's your safeguard. Don't
Right.
use the debit card. Don't do cash. Don't give a routing number.
No, don't
but
give a
success
check.
rate with a credit card.
Credit card
pretty good.
is awesome, because what you can do, as long as you've kept your receipts and you have proof that you've never received any product, and actually I need to change that up, because if you've received product that is not exactly what you purchased, so again, keeping that acquisition or that this is what I bought email from the vendor, that's hugely helpful to the credit card company, so they can go back and say, we're sorry vendor, we're taking the money back.
All right, very important advice. Melanie Ducanel, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it.